Live. Going live. You're live. Oh, yes. Thank you for the reminder. All right. Are you audible? You're not. You are not audible. One moment. Device, playback, headset. You are now audible.
Hello, welcome. Good afternoon.
Welcome to the Coffee Hour with your hosts, Graham and Karadog. Or actually, sorry, Karadog and Graham. I should say my co-host's name first. I also gestured in the wrong direction because you're over there today.
I'm pleased we're good at this.
Welcome to the professional podcast. Hello, everyone. How are you all doing? How are you doing? Good morning, lads. I love all of you. That's a good sentiment. That is a good sentiment to have. Ugh. I'm tired. I've had a couple of successes toward the end of this week, which have made me happy. But also, there's a lot of things that I haven't gotten done. I'm just like, this still needs to be done, you know. So it's one of those afternoons. I also had one of those afternoons where I forgot my coffee and it went cold twice. I had my lunch, made a coffee, walked away, forgot about it, leaving it under the coffee machine. And then I came and, you know, like an hour later, I'm just like, coffee. Went in there. Of course, it's gone stone cold, so pour that down the sink, start a new one off, walk away while it's brewing. And I nearly forgot that one. I came back to that one and it was sort of, you know, where it's just warm enough that it's still drinkable, but you're like, this isn't as good as it could be, kind of thing.
The kind of coffee you drink in one go.
Yeah, that's literally what I did. It was a decaf as well. I just wanted a decaf before I had a caffeinated one for the stream. So yeah.
Are you certain it was actually a decaf?
Yes, it was, because the packet was blue. This isn't in joke.
The packet that nowhere on there said decaf that you instantly assumed was decaf.
Look, chat,
say decaf.
Chat, help me out here. If you buy coffee and the packet is either blue or it's instant coffee and it's got a blue cap on it or something like that, that means it's decaf, doesn't it? Like, come on, work with me here.
No.
Apparently, Kenco are just like, no, we're going to make our regular coffee blue, even though everyone else uses blue as the symbol for this is decaf.
See?
We're getting mixed responses here. There's lots of yeses and nopes and whatevers. Fine.
I guess, you just have to be safe and read what the packet says.
Yes, we could do that as well, I guess. Decaf is green top. Where is here? Because, is it? Oh, yeah, no.
Is the Irish Bull, by any chance?
I'll have you know he's in America, if my memory serves me. So, however, you are correct. Yeah, some are green. Whatever. Anyway. St. Louis. Mosa. Wherever that is. Anyway. We should probably start doing content now.
God.
Come on, I thought that was funny.
To doing this with you?
It was your idea, wasn't it?
Exactly. That's why I'm like, why did I agree to this?
It was your idea. You asked for this. Let's get the show started because we're probably too many minutes in without actually talking about anything. I would say we've got to.
Utterly unrelated.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah, go.
I was going to say utterly unrelated. I watched your Switch SD card fixing video today. I've no idea how old that video is, but I was just like, you fixed a Switch SD card. I didn't even know. And I was like, I was amazed at how easily you could just drill that thing apart. Yeah. So I expected it to be glued up the wazoo.
Yeah.
And, needing suction cups and everything.
I was a bit scared of doing the Switch, and it was actually quite easy. Fun fact, the repair on that actually hasn't held up, and it's coming back in. I think there is, because I fixed one pin on it, but I think that entire connector is just goosed. And the owner is actually bringing it back in, and we're going to change the whole connector. because a lot of people in the comments for that video were just like, "Oh, you should have changed the connector." That's what insert YouTuber here does. And I was just like, well, I thought it was just one pin, so I jumper wired out one pin and it started working. However, yeah, it worked for a bit, then it's a bit spotty, and now it's fallen over again. So I said, get it back into the shop. I'll do it again free of charge because warranty. And this time I'm going to change the whole connector. So we will actually be seeing that one again.
Yeah. I was amazed by the number of people who were like, you didn't use flux. And I was like, the first thing I saw you do was use flux.
I can't win. Yeah, just I can't win. Like, I use flux in practically every time I have the soldering iron out. I use flux, and it's nearly always in the video as well. At some point, you'll see that syringe go across the screen, go on the screen, and people are just like, "There's no flux." I'm just like, I use flux. I also have hilariously leaded solder with more flux in than is legal these days. I think apparently this spool of solder. This spool of solder is probably older than half the people in the audience. This came out of my granddad's attic. It's ancient. And hang on a sec, let me give you a close-up of this, because you guys should see this.
Is it older than us?
Probably. Right, hang on a minute. Focus. Get a load of this. You see how it's gone all lumpy and bumpy? You see all of that? Yeah, you see all that? That's all the flux in it. Because this stuff is ancient and it's all bubbled out. It's archaic. So this has got all the good stuff in it. This has got all of that good, sweet, carcinogenic rubbish in it that makes it really easy to use. I hear that solder like that is worth its weight in gold. And I think this is one of the reasons why Karadog is dead. Rip Karadog. I think this is one of the reasons why I seem to need less flux than other people seem, because I'm using a type of solder that has just got flux out the wazoo. But yeah. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, Cody, you've come a long way from the olden days with soldering. Yeah. I've still got videos up. If you look at the very start of the channel where I was first trying to solder DC jacks onto boards, and I was using a terrible iron, and I didn't know how to. Didn't understand. The old iron was bad, but also I didn't understand how to use it properly, and I didn't know how to clear holes, and I didn't have the equipment. And yeah, I have come a long way with my soldering, and I'm fairly proud of that. I don't think I wouldn't call myself a talented solderer, but I like to think that I'm competent. But yeah, but yes. At any rate, though, yeah, a lot of people are just like, you didn't use fire, whatever. I didn't want to become one of those YouTubers who was really jaded with the comments and was always just having to say, "Oh, the commenters are all idiots," kind of thing. But it's true. If it's not flux, it's people telling me that I'm doing thermal paste wrong. They say, "Oh, you used too much. Oh, you didn't use enough. Oh, you should be using a pea-sized dot," and stuff like that. And just I can absolutely understand why Gamers Nexus are just like, we don't show thermal paste, because whatever we do, there will be an argument in the comments saying that we're wrong. And whatever we do, no matter how many tests we do, and as you know, you all know how many tests Gamers Nexus do. I'm pretty certain they know how to apply thermal paste. And there'll be someone who will say, you're doing it wrong. And so they just like, so we're not going to show thermal paste. We never ever show thermal paste being applied. And I'm just...
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't blame you. So yeah.
I am making a new mount. One moment.
Can someone stop shooting Karadog? Just once again, you know, that's it. He's dead.
Apparently it's cold in here or something.
You need to tape, yeah. something professionalism. Oh well. Well, while you sort out your camera.
Yes, indeed. I'm apparently being violently assaulted. Right. See, the thing that amazes me is the fact that it's having a problem, because it's worked absolutely fine for the previous however many months of lockdown we've been in.
Yeah. Right. Do I need to adjust your position?
God.
No, you're centered again. Okay, you're fine. I'll move you a little bit. Right.
Good lord. So yeah.
All right. Well, on this note, I'll
I was genuinely looking at phone holder thingies on Amazon for Black Friday and stuff, and I was just like, all of these look like complete tat.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, I can't find any that look nice and half decent without being like, this is £25 for a phone holder. And I'm like,
This is why I don't have a phone holder in my car either. Because I look at all of them and I'm like, that looks crap. Or I know from past experience of phone holders in cars that it's either going to be really naff, it's going to keep falling off, it's going to be... or like if it has any kind of flexible arm, that means it's actually nice and versatile. If it's got a long flexible arm, it just means it's constantly going to be doing that, bobbing up and down while the car drives along. And I'm like, yeah.
Someone had one that was about, I don't know, 45 centimeters long. And it was mounted on their windscreen, and they were like driving along in front of me, and I could just see their phone going.
Yeah.
And it was genuinely like a good 20-30 centimeters of travel. And I was like, how do you use that for mapping? How do you use that for anything? It's just going, whee!
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, God, people. But hey. Well, yes, I keep meaning to, and I am actually going to get on with it, because I think I've done all of my spending otherwise so far for this year, is actually just getting myself like an EOS M or something like that.
The car?
No, a Canon.
Oh,
EOS
okay,
M,
yes.
The mirrorless.
Because we were kind of talking about cars, I thought you meant like a Volkswagen EOS, and I'm just like, are you sure? You know? But yes, no, a Canon EOS. Okay, yes, fair enough. Yeah.
And then that'll be on an actual proper tripod.
Yeah.
So
we should also buy... Katrina was linking... Or no, it wasn't. It was the person in the Discord that has the Japanese name, I think. No, it wasn't. Who was it? Who was it who was linking in that really cheap capture card from AliExpress?
Lemons.
Yes. Who is also a really good member, by the way. Very helpful, very knowledgeable. They linked in like a $10 HDMI capture card that you can buy from AliExpress, and they were like, this is great, I've got one. And I'm like, I kind of want to buy one of those, and just because like I've got a decent capture card at home. I've got a PCI Express. I use a AVerMedia PCI Express one, and I'm like, I want to put it up against a decent capture card and find out how much a $10 capture card will actually get you. I mean, it doesn't have pass-through, which is a bit of a bummer, because it means if there's any lag whatsoever, it basically means you can't see what you're doing. But if you're using it for a camera, that's probably all right. So yeah,
probably.
Embracing the COVID haircuts. I ain't going to a barber until this is all over. I want to. I'm not enjoying my hair right now. I want to get it all sheared off, but yeah, hell no. The £7 USB captures are fine for basically capturing the screen. Use them for testing consoles. Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, quite a few people saying they work fine. I should buy one and just test it out. Try see what its strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I don't think they're fit for game streaming. I think they're mainly just because of the lack of preview. Because if you're capturing a console and you're doing game streaming, you need to you need pass through, because you need to see a zero lag preview, and B, if the lag starts building up on the capture side, it means your audience will see the picture that is delayed compared to your camera and your microphone, which is a problem that I had with one of my old ones before.
Yeah,
and that's a very frustrating issue to fix. So yeah, HDMI splitter. Oh, that's a good idea. Didn't even think of that. Yeah, AJ Haverkamp, HDMI splitter. Good shout.
The other thing, I was complaining about capture devices not doing 120 hertz pass through.
Yeah.
And EVGA have just released a captured card, which name entirely escapes me, but that does 120 hertz pass through.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
So someone has just done one. It also apparently specifically has support for capturing BIOS and stuff. So that's useful as well for like overclocking streams and things like that.
Yeah,
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah,
I'm
that's
kind
also
of impressed with that.
Yeah, that's also good for yeah, that's probably especially useful for capturing the new consoles and stuff like that, because one of the reasons why there's not much in the way of high refresh rate pass through on capture cards is that obviously most of the time the source you're capturing isn't high refresh rate anyway, so it doesn't matter, because obviously no console previously has been outputting more than 60 FPS. However, yeah, obviously now with the new consoles,
the point where I go, well, actually,
yeah, do elaborate.
The Xbox One and Xbox One X have supported 120 hertz mode.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Like it, yeah.
Was anything actually using it?
I think Rainbow Six Siege did in single player mode.
Yeah, for all those R6 Siege competitive players on Xbox, yeah.
But nothing actually output at above 60 FPS, but it was a supported 120 hertz refresh rate mode, which also supported VRR, I think. Or effectively kind of an implementation of VRR, which meant that obviously you could play dodgy frame rate 60 FPS games with far less sort of stuttering on it, because it's effectively outputting 120 frames a second. But obviously, if you're getting 58 frames a second, you're not actually, having to wait that refresh cycle, because the refresh cycle's doubled kind of thing. So it tidied up slightly dodgy stuttering and stuff.
Smooths things out a little bit. Yeah, that's
fair. Absolutely. It made Sekiro actually slightly playable.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. That game had some stuttery issues.
I hadn't seen any console play of it. I'd only seen it playing on PC. I really want to. I want to play Sekiro. Actually, I really want to pick up that game.
I saw it on sale somewhere for something like £17.
Yeah, because I was super interested in it on its release. However, it's it does, the combat system favors parrying and stuff like that, and at the time I had not gotten good at parrying in Dark Souls, whereas these days I can parry in Dark Souls. So suddenly I'm just like, I think I would actually do quite well in Sekiro all of a sudden. So right. Let's see. So I may as well jump into the title. I'm trying to do a thing where I put a topic in the title that we talk about reasonably soon into the stream, just as a headline thing that we do. Well. Yeah. Well, it's gone well so far because we're 17 minutes in, 18 minutes in. So yeah, I was going to say I wanted to talk about an interesting issue that I had when I was trying to stream on Thursday. Or rather just an interesting thing that's come up that I think is actually possibly an issue, and that is USB bandwidth being a thing. I actually have an issue with my computer at home where I actually have a problem with too many USB things plugged in at the same time, and they're conflicting with each other, and I have to solve it by unplugging things and plugging them in somewhere else. And it's actually causing me a major issue at the moment. And I'm like, I've never had this problem before. And now suddenly I'm having an issue having all of my USB ports populated.
How many devices do you have?
Not even that many. How do
you have that many?
Yeah, not even that many. I mean, the other possibility is it's just wireless interference. But then, no, it's not just wireless, though, because at first I thought it might have been wireless interference, because I had a wireless mouse, I've got my wireless gamepad, my wireless headphones, and then obviously, my phone is vaguely in the vicinity of the desk, and I thought it might have been that. However, when the fault occurs, if I plug in the first time I noticed it was I would plug in my external SSD, my M2 external SSD, to transfer things, and it wasn't detecting it. And I was like, plug it in a different port, and then it's detected. And however, if I then rearrange everything, it then works in the port that it didn't work in before and stuff like that. So there's definitely some kind of weird issue there. And I'm super confused about it.
Unplug everything, plug it into your monitors.
I don't have USB on my monitors anymore. My Asus monitors, my Asus monitors do not have USB hubs on them, and I miss it. Because this is what I used to do before. I think the reason why I didn't previously have this issue is a lot of my USB 2 stuff and just like, my desk light and stuff like that were just all plugged into the USB ports on the monitors where it didn't really matter. And yeah. So yeah. Does my PC at home have a proper ground connection? It should do. So yeah, power distribution issue, that might be it. I think what I'm going to do, because I've got at least I have at least 2 devices plugged in which are just power, and that is my desk light is just a USB light, and my RGB mouse mat, which I was looking to Karadog for the eye roll, and those are just power. So what I might do is move those just onto a USB plug instead. Just power those from a dual port USB thing and see if that sorts it out.
Yeah.
So, but recently motherboards are using... Yeah, that's right. Just one of those, basically. Recently motherboards are using more than 2 USB ports per controller. See, that might explain why this is an issue that I'm having on this board, when I didn't used to have this on my older board. Because, as I say, this is a problem that only seems to have occurred since I switched over to my AMD setup. When I had my i5 with my Z370 board, didn't seem to be an issue. Now I'm on my my ASRock X470 board, which granted is not exactly brand new, but it's still newer than a Z370. Seems to be an issue there. So,
Yeah, I have avoided most of the issue by having, obviously, everything through one of my monitors.
Yeah.
So basically all of my USB 2 stuff. So keyboard, mouse, microphone. Actually, no, microphone's into the PC now. But basically all of that stuff was into the monitor, and then from the monitor to the PC. So, yeah. And I only realised the other day when I rebuilt my desk and kind of plugged everything in after it fell apart. I was just like, oh yeah, I've only got like 2 USB devices to plug in to the actual computer. And I was like,
Yeah, I have 2 minds about that. I love the idea of that, but on the flip side, I found that turned into an issue when I wanted to go to a LAN party, and then I had to disassemble everything from the monitor. And at the moment, I'm finding it easier just to have a loom of USB to the back of my computer, and I've just got Velcro ties around them. So when I unplug everything, I just rip out all the USBs, and I just have a loom of USB plugs that then just lays on the desk, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was also just based off of the fact of I was never going to take that computer anywhere, probably.
That's true.
I'd actually need to set it up with the keyboard mouse monitor that I had at home, because I had that at the time gaming laptop. And also it was a case of if I was taking that computer anywhere, I was going to be probably just using the stuff in your shop.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
That's only going to be for 15 minutes of testing, so who really cares?
Arnold G is talking about XHCI handoff being on auto or set. What is XHCI? Do you know what that is, Karadog? I've seen that. I've heard of it. I just don't know what it is or what it does.
Apparently, it's extensible host controller interface.
Yeah, I assume it's just basically behavior for USB ports. So yeah, that could be interesting. I might have a look at that then as well. But yeah, I think the first thing I'll do is I'll just try... I think I just need to consolidate my USB devices, because I've got a lot of stuff plugged in the back of my PC, and I would like there to be less plugged in there. Because yeah, that's the problem, is a lot of people sort of say, oh, I don't have much USB stuff. But the problem is when you have a streaming computer, it's amazing how much you suddenly add. Because you've got your mouse and your keyboard, then you have straight away for your streaming setup, you have microphone, camera, probably a capture card. So you add another 3 to that straight away. And then if you're like me, what else have I got plugged in at the back of mine? I've then got mouse mat and light. Yeah, that's 7 items. I'm sure there's something else. There's an 8th item as well, but I can't remember what it is. Oh yeah, wireless headset. That's number 8. And then typically every now and then I'm going to want to plug in a flash drive. So there's a hypothetical 9th thing that gets plugged in as well. So you suddenly find that you've got this huge amount of USB stuff on your computer, and I think that's why I've gone wrong. And yeah, as someone said, USB is not as unlimited as people think it is. I think that's where I've come a gutster there. OS handoff.
Part of it obviously is a case of you can kind of replace part of one of those by buying an internal capture card instead.
Yeah, certainly I have got an internal capture card now, so that is one of them gone. But
certainly for a desktop streaming setup, an internal one would probably be better, arguably. And then obviously having USB ports on your monitors, even if they're not actually connected to the PC, is super useful just for charging phones, powering doohickeys and so on. Because that's what I use one of my monitors in the office for. I just have cables coming off of that to charge mice, headphones, things like that. Instead of needing like 6 wall warts, I just use a monitor.
Fair enough.
So it's kind of because they're high power USB 3 ports, they still do, a full 1 amp, 5 volt across all of the ports with all of them being used.
1 amp is fine for most things, isn't it?
Exactly. Certainly when it's a case of plug phone in, leave it on charge for 6 hours of the day. So yeah,
I think when I get when I move into the new place, I'm going to buy one of those just USB charge hub things, like one of those anchor things where you just got a brick with just like 8 USB outputs on it or something. And I think I'm just going to have one of those set up somewhere just as a USB charging station.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which would also help.
I keep seeing them and kind of going, oh, that's cool. I kind of want one of them. But then I'm like, I have so few devices that need powering like that. I'm like, it's just a waste of money for me. I'm like, they're cool and I kind of want one, but at the same time, I'm fine. I don't need it. I don't need to spend this money.
Yeah, that's fair.
I clearly need to spend the money on an actual tripod.
Is anyone else getting buffering on the stream, by the way? Because my preview is stopping and starting now and then. Just want to check that that's just my end.
Fine.
Okay, fair enough. Good enough. It does say I've got an excellent connection. Yeah, fair enough then. And maybe wise to check the PSU can handle everything. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I've got a RM650X in this PC, so I don't think I'm having any issues there. Although that much being said, I have got an RM750X in the shop, and I'm seriously considering swapping that out with my 650X just to add another couple of 100 watts, because I'm anticipating getting a new graphics card some point soon. Within the next 12 months, I'm probably going to upgrade my 1070 because my 1070, it's good enough, but one thing that I've loved about owning my 1070 while I was 1080p gaming is that it was just overpowered enough for my requirements that I could be abusive. Whatever the game was, you could just set everything to maximum and it would work. Whereas now, where I keep touching the limits of it, I keep setting things a bit too high and then going, oh, we've got to dial this back a bit. And I'm just like, that's annoying me. It's fine, and this is a real first world problem, but I'm at the point where I'm just like, I kind of want an OP graphics card just so I can have something that just goes beyond what everything else can do. And then I can just go back to just going, oh, maximum everything, no problems.
That's what I kind of had with my when I first built the PC with the 980s and SLI. Because it was for that I was playing it 2560 1600, just with 3 monitors doing that, and it was a case that it was amazing for me, the difference going from having a single card driving the 3 monitors to SLI made. just because of the load the other two screens were applying to the graphics
I
card.
remember when you were having those issues, yeah.
And it blew my mind because just the fact that the other two screens just showing like Discord and Chrome and stuff put sufficient load on there to be a noticeable impact to gaming performance.
Yeah, and like even if it's
like,
manageable, the fact that you can see that limit is what is annoying, isn't it? It's when you can see the ceiling.
It amazed me that it was a thing. Yeah, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah. To follow up the questions, if I said 1080, I meant 1070, by the way. But yeah, I'm running 1440p 165 is my target, and also code says don't forget 650 is only the max output. Well, I've got a GTX 1070 non-TI. That's going to be what 200 watts tops. I've got a Ryzen 3800X, and that's going to be again. Let's be generous and say it can go up to 200 watts tops. We all know that it's not going to pull that much, but let's be generous and pretend
it can't do more than 144.
Yeah, so
let's. It literally doesn't.
Yeah, okay. So let's pretend and say 200, even though it's not going to get anywhere near that. So that's 400 watts, and then if we add in like just another 100 watts for everything else, we're up to 500 so far out of a 650 watt power supply. I'm nowhere near the limits of that thing. Nowhere near it. The only reason why I'm tempted to put the 750 in is just because my next graphics card is likely to be either a 30 series, or it's either going to be a 30 series or it's going to be a high-end 20 series. And then obviously at that point, the graphics card pulling up to 300 watts is definitely on the cards, or 300 watts is quite a likely number to see. And then suddenly, if we go with the same numbers, we're up to sort of 500 for the graphics card and CPU combined, and add another 100 for everything else, and we've got 600 out of 650. It's like okay, it would run, but we're running out of overheads here. We don't really want to be sitting at max load all the time. So yeah
absolutely. It's a case of I didn't realize that I had I think an 850. I have an 850 in my main computer now.
Yeah.
So I forgot that we swapped that out. And I'm just
I remember that one. That one came out of our friend's computer, didn't it? I think at some point.
All of it, just the e-waste and stuff I just picked up. From places, and it's just like I did really well over that couple of weeks, getting like 3 core set IOs, a case, like power supply. Just a bunch of random stuff. People were just like, I'm throwing this stuff away. And I was just like, I will take this stuff because it's value.
Yeah. I just wish I had more space for it at the moment, but soon TM. Yeah. Soon TM.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of thinking, I'm just like, I really should swap out the power supply in this computer and put in a much, much lower power one. Just because I don't need 850 watts in there, especially as I'm going to be taking out the hard drives and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you could, but then that only really matters if you need the power supply somewhere else, or if you could use it somewhere else. Because like most modern power supplies, the efficiency band on them is pretty wide these days. So.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't particularly from that perspective.
Okay.
I was just kind of going, I could easily run this computer off of a 500 watt power supply.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I can find a spare 500 watt power supply at home or something in the office, because I'm pretty sure I have a spare one sat around. And I'm just like, that then frees up a half decent 850 watt one. And I'm like, just sort of shuffling parts around to.
Yeah, and that is nice to have lying around. Yeah.
Just to make them actually useful instead. Because this PC, my current one, the one I'm talking to you on, is going to be my new work PC eventually, and it's a case of it's not going to need that much power on it, because I'm certainly not going to be maxing it.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, and HSX HCR. In case I didn't say it correctly earlier on, it's an ASRock board I've got at home. However, I will have a look at the XHCI settings anyway when I'm fiddling with this, just out of curiosity. I mean, at the moment, the fault is quite easy for me to reproduce, so I can try some different things on it and see what happens, and I can see what is actually effective. So I'll try having a look at the XHCI settings and see if I can actually get any kind of difference out of that, out of the curiosity. So yeah. Let's see. Noel Dowds, watch the... oh, hello again, Noel. Watched the HP Spectre vid yesterday. How weird with the power traces. Yeah, super weird. Although, I tell you one thing, I did notice it was when I was reviewing that video, I spotted the via where that power trace is going to where the dead cap was is actually visible in the video. I don't know how I didn't see it while I was working on it, but it's amazing how you miss things while you're in the zone trying to talk and repair at the same time. And yeah, there was a via that was visible that was almost certainly going to that cap. So, but hey, I'm still glad we got a fix out of it. See, where was I up to? Coffee packaging stuff, yeah. I see you, Karthik, don't worry. You're beginning, so how to start learning. To start learning, find stuff that's broken and fix it. It's literally the answer. Find stuff that's broken and try and fix it. And that, I know that sounds like a really open-ended thing to say, but that's literally the answer. And if you want a really good example of that, one of the members of the Discord is into PS3s. And what he's been doing, he's been buying dead PS3. He knows quite a lot about the PS3 because he's read up about them. He's been buying dead PS3s on eBay for like £10, £15, gets them all in. He tries to build a working one out of them, and then he sells it. And he's actually in profit last time I checked. I mean, he's not going to make a living on it anytime soon, but the fact is, I think he's actually net positive on his venture, and he's getting in good practice. So yeah.
Basically.
So that's basically it. We should probably point out not to learn on customer stuff. Well, you say that, but how else do you do it? You know, there's a balancing point to that, I think, because obviously when you look at it at face value and you say sort of, oh, I'm practicing on customer stuff, that sounds really bad at face value. But at the end of the day, isn't every mechanic who is fixing a car, every time he encounters, you know, if he hasn't worked on that particular model of car before and he's like, oh, we've got to swap out the gearbox on that, I haven't done that on this particular car, isn't he practicing on that car? And that's the thing, it's the same as me working on a laptop. You know, every time I look at a laptop, the chances are I've never worked on that particular laptop before, but as long as I have a basic understanding on what I'm doing. However, I think what you might have been referring to there as well to an extent is if you literally have no idea what you're doing, then no, you should probably be working on a tester machine. You know, if you don't have a reasonable chance of success. So I think that's what you were inferring there. Work on some breaker stuff first. And that is actually a good place to start as well, because it's easy to find breaker stuff that's being thrown out. So yeah, sorry, I've kind of pivoted in what I was saying there because I understood what you meant halfway through what I was talking about.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on kind of what it is that you're going to be learning and how much starting knowledge you have. So obviously it's a case of you're kind of going, I've not done this particular repair before, but I have done repairs before of a similar nature.
This week I did.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're kind of going to the person, I have done, say, board repair before, but I have not repaired this fault before. It's going to take a while because it could be a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Then yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a different circumstance and you're being honest up front. But if it's a case of going, I'm literally starting out, don't use other people's kit. Yeah,
I think that's the nutshell because case in point, I was working on a MacBook Air this week. I actually just before we went live, I finished recording the last of the footage for it. I did a MacBook Air that had a firmware password on it, which requires the EFI chip, the BIOS chip, to be reprogrammed to clear it. And I've never done this repair before, and the customer brought it in. They said, "Oh, we saw on forums that it can be removed." I'm just like, it can. I've just never done it before. However, I have BIOS chip programming equipment, and I have rework equipment, and the chip is very easy to remove from the board. I have the knowledge and the equipment to do this. I've just never done it before.
Yeah, exactly.
However, because I have the knowledge and equipment to do it, there's no reason why I can't attempt it. And obviously, this also works on the provisor of I break it, I buy it. If I break their laptop, then I'm going to pay for it. And that is always the working conditions I work under. If I break someone's computer, then I'm paying for, if I wreck the logic board on this MacBook Air trying to attempt this fix, I'm going to buy them a new logic board. And that's the risk you take. However, it was a success. I did successfully pull it off. And it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be as well. So, video to follow soon. So, yeah.
So you can actually reprogram the chip to remove the password?
Yes, that is confirmed.
Interesting.
Yeah. Because it's one of those... This is the second thing I've learned this year about MacBooks, about repairs that I thought were not possible that actually are very straightforward. There's this one, which is removing firmware passwords, where it's just like, you just reprogram the BIOS chip again. And I'm just like, I wish I'd known that years ago, because I have written off MacBooks because I thought they were bricked, because I thought that password was not removable. I thought that was a do not pass go, do not collect £200 password. But no, you just reprogram the BIOS chip. And the other one was hacking Apple SSDs. So the Apple SSD, which looks like an M.2 card but isn't, I used to think that these were proprietary and you had to buy secondhand Apple ones. No, you can get M.2 adapters for them that are inexpensive on Amazon and eBay, and then you can drop a standard M.2 SSD into a MacBook. And good grief, I wish I'd known that several years ago as well. I mean, you have to get, it has to be certain ones for a certain laptop. Like, the newer ones, it has to be NVMe. It cannot be a SATA M.2. And on the older ones, it has to be SATA, not NVMe. But the point is, it is actually adaptable. And it works just fine. And suddenly you can do SSD upgrades on the older MacBook Retinas, which previously I thought couldn't be done. So, yeah, just always learning. Always learning.
So it's a case of it's not physically compatible, but it's electrically compatible.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, it's electronically compatible.
Yeah, it's signal compatible is the way I phrase it. Yeah, because the new ones are just PCI Express NVMe drives, just with
that's cool.
Yeah,
just with a different controller, different connector, because reasons. Oh, what the hell.
Night Fusion, good luck getting the data off them. The new ones are locked to the T2 chip. Oh, yeah. The brand new ones with the T2 chip, I'm not going to touch them with a barge pole. Someone comes in with those. I have no intention of doing any kind of hardware repairs on the T2 MacBooks. And at this point, I'm just, if someone comes in with one of those, there are certain. I have a list of computers that are on the do not touch list. One of them, for example, is the iMac Pro. And the iMac Pro, that is on my do not touch list. I'll do software issues with it, but if there's any kind of hardware issues, do not touch. I will not go anywhere near the hardware on those, because if I break it, that's a $5,000 computer kind of thing. And I'm just like, nope. Unless I'm charging several £100, like near £1,000 for the repair, that ain't worth the risk reward, not by a long shot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Just
one of those things where it...
Firephone. Did you ever build the dim bulb tester? What's the dim bulb tester? Remind me what that is again. Carry on, Karadog.
I was just going to say, with that, it's kind of a case of you'd need to be doing a significant volume of them to reduce the cost back down for the cost of each repair.
Yeah.
And it's a case that you're not going to get to that volume of doing them unless you specialize in them, and you're getting in tons of them via mail order.
Yeah. And that's not a position that my business is going to be in for a while. I have dabbled with mail order, but even just a slight dabble, I very quickly got overwhelmed. And I actually had quite a few people who got stuff sent back to them where I was just like, no, I can't do this, I'm afraid. Where I just had to bail on the job just because, I wanted to get onto that scene, but it's very quick and very easy to get overwhelmed, especially when you've got, like, I have an almost never-ending supply of walk-in stuff anyway. So it's, you have to be specialized, and you have to know when you're doing mail order stuff, you have to have a rough idea on what's coming in, what's wrong with it, and how you're going to fix it for that to really work, I think. Otherwise, you just end up with, it's in a way, it's like what happened with Lewis Rossman. When Lewis Rossman's channel got big, everyone was sending their rabbit holes to him, so he was getting all of the nightmare boards, and thankfully he was talented enough to be able to fix a lot of them. However, I'm not that talented, so when people start sending me their nightmare boards, I take one look and I'm just like, nope, this one's beyond me. So
absolutely. And I think it's a case of, if you were to be very, very specific, then obviously you could get to that level of knowledge. But it's, difficult, certainly if you're being reasonably broad spectrum. You'd have to, kind of go, okay, we're doing this only for HP laptops, and then get every single HP laptop kind of thing. But it's kind of, it just, seems weird, and it'd be difficult to specialize sufficiently, I think, to be able to do that. But like, I don't know. I think you'd kind of have to have specific things that you'd accept sort of mail order for. Not mail order. Mail-ins. That's
mail-in. The Irish Bull dim bulb tester is a thing you plug into the wall, and it has an outlet on it with a bulb in line. So if there's a short, it lights up the bulb as opposed to frying the device. That's a cool idea. That's actually relevant because the HP that we looked at, the video was this week, had a short on the DCN. I haven't encountered an issue where you'd actually do damage to anything with that yet. Because like one of the things as well you've got to keep in mind is that by the time you see the computer, the customer has already plugged it in half a dozen times going, why doesn't this work? I'm going to keep trying to turn it on even while it's short-circuited. So by the time that stuff gets to your workbench, someone's already plugged it in and tried to turn it on. So you may as well see what happens. However, that's a very interesting gadget all the same. So something like that would probably be interesting to build. Yeah, I'd probably look into that. That'd be cool. I also want to say, just popping back as well, Night Fusion, thanks for the $5 as well on that message. I didn't actually say thank you after answering your message. Always appreciated as always. Ben Laird, sorry, I'm going to butcher your surname. Thank you for the $5 as well. Great info, keep it coming. So yes. Let's see, catching up on the chat.
Did you get anywhere with looking into modifying your headphones?
I haven't started looking yet. So no, although I need to write that down as a thing to do, because the problem is I get ideas and then I forget them when I'm actually looking for things to do. So yes, although I did remember to charge them, but yes, these headphones do need a new battery or a big battery on them.
You definitely need a large whiteboard and several whiteboard markers just to write random stuff on.
Is that a reference?
No. I meant you need a large whiteboard and whiteboard markers. So
for taking notes. Yes.
Like add big lipo to headphones.
Yes, I understand. Yes, that's a good idea. Yes.
Build random clock kit because fun.
Yes. Yep, that is fair enough.
Do YouTube memberships.
Yes, I will. I'll get to it, dear. This is
sign
the
up
thing
for free money.
Yeah. This is what holds me back these days. Just I get it's not decision paralysis, but it's whatever the thing is called to do, where you have so many things to do that you end up doing none of them. And so And at the moment, the only time I'm ever actually productive right now is when I actually manage to forget everything and just say, here is a thing that needs doing, and just sit down and do that, just one thing at a time. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing at a time is excellent.
Yeah.
But yes, step one of writing on the whiteboard. Buy a whiteboard. Wait, hold on a minute.
I've got a whiteboard. Got a whiteboard out the back. I need to get some new pens for it, though, because they've all gone dry.
Right, so you heard it here first. What you need to do to help out Graham is randomly send him pens to his shop now.
Sure. Only one person do that, though. I would complain about that. However, I tell you what, I'll show it off on stream. I did do a tweet about this, but I'll show it off anyway, just to show my gratitude for it. But someone sent me this. Hang on a minute. Someone sent me this mouse mat here. Check out this rad mouse mat. This just showed up randomly in the post today. Yesterday, I think it was. And this really cool mouse mat showed up, and I'm like, I didn't order this. And then it had a note attached from an anonymous person saying, thanks for the content, etc., etc. And I was like, dude, thanks. And it's a really nice mouse mat. And yeah, that just arrived. And I was just like, that made my day yesterday. I was like, I'm going to put this on my bench right now. And so yeah, I've taken up this one, which was the blue one that's full of solder burn marks and all the rest of it. And yeah, I've put that one down. I'm not going to solder on it. I'm putting down another mat any time I'm doing soldering. But yeah, it's super cool.
I also just really quite like the art style on it as well.
Yeah,
which is nice.
It's a really cool picture. It's I really like sort of sci-fi stuff like that is not completely bonkers, but I guess you could call it, I don't know, like near future sci-fi or something like that. It's a cool aesthetic. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think I also just really, 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 really dig Art Deco. And I'm really sad that Art Deco seems to get viewed as dated by people.
Art Deco is still cool. Yeah, I agree with that.
Art Deco, solid 1930s.
Yeah, it's still a good look, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. It's classy. It's that kind of classy, and it's also making things look nice without going over the top, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's not too elaborate, but yeah, it's like wearing a suit, but architecture, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Demony BS, thank you for the $10. Or when are you supposed to move into the new shop? Love the channel content. Thanks a lot, my dude. I'm not giving away too much content because I'm kind of keeping things behind the scenes as a bonus for people who are in the Patreon. However, as you know, because Super Chat and stuff like that, I will let you know. I have a draft lease for a new shop. I'm waiting for the final lease which is the lease that I will actually sign. So that's where we're up to. I'm expecting to have that signed within a month. So I'm not going to go into much more than that, but that is where we're up to, basically. So yeah, it is happening. It is very much happening. What I want to do is I want to show off a new shop for 100,000 subscribers. That's what's coming up. So yeah, it was I want it to be a surprise. So you heard it here first, but obviously if you guys have all come to see us doing this show, then you're obviously interested in, obviously, like, out of the currently like 85,000 subscribers, there's like 384 of you guys here, so you guys get the inside scoop. So thanks for coming, everyone. And while we're at it as well, Mini Pinball Australia, thanks for the 20 Aussie dollars as well. Anybody asked for my autograph since the channel boom? Not yet, because of lockdown and stuff. Well, I don't really get around much anyway, I guess, but I haven't been in. Yeah. I haven't really been anywhere where people have wanted any kind of autograph stuff. So not yet. I should probably be thankful, because everyone who does actually get big is always just like, it's the worst thing ever being famous kind of thing. So However, yeah, whatever. I'm sure at some point it'll happen. I've been involved in other projects that have involved people wanting my autograph before, where I've been organising. Like I went through a stint where I used to organise a. I was in the organisers' managers circle for a convention, and at that because I was quite a public face for that. At that convention, I would get people saying, "Oh, can you sign my my convention booklet as well?" And I was just like, "You want my autograph? Why?" And they're just like, "Well, just because you put in loads of effort and I met you and you're a cool..." And I'm just like, "Sure, dude. There's my signature. Have a great time. Have a good show. I hope you enjoy yourself. That will make me very happy, you know." So, yeah, you know, if people want it, they're more than welcome to it, you know?
Absolutely. And at some point, you'll end up, you know, with special custom signed edition of mousepads or something.
Yeah, I would like to get into custom mousepads. Like, if I did, I think at some point there will be merch. You know, I don't know when and I don't know what, but at some point there will be merch. Not because I want to cash in, but just because I think that would be really awesome. Like, I've wanted to get a custom mouse mat for the bench that's just like Adamant IT or something like that for a very long time. I just haven't gotten around to doing the logistics to get one made up because lazy. But like, I would want to do that just because if nothing else, I would want to make just something rad. Like this mouse mat is heckin' rad. It's like 5mm thick. This thing is. And I'm like, this is a really nice mouse mat. I want to make a mouse mat like this, so I can say to people, I have arranged this really nice mouse mat, and I will sell one to you, and it'll have a cool design on it, kind of thing. You know, a lot like what Gamers Nexus are doing. Basically, the Gamers Nexus merch is really good. I want to make merch like that, or you know, it probably won't be that good because they really know their stuff for Chinese suppliers and stuff, but I think that's cool, and I would like to make something that other people would like to buy and say, yeah, I think that's cool, and I want one of those as well, you know.
I think the other thing as well is kind of as you get bigger, if you just mention that in your videos and stuff, the relevant companies will find you and message you.
That's interesting, yeah.
Yeah, obviously it's a case of part of it, the reason why they know what they know is the fact that they got big enough for people to start talking to them.
Yeah, that's true.
And
yeah.
you start having the conversation. So if people have the conversation with you, you can start learning.
Yeah, that is
and
fair.
It's kind of difficult to learn without having that conversation to start with. So yeah, I think it's something that's, worth mentioning in videos and stuff that you have.
Well, that's just it. You know, like in the Discord community alone, we have a couple of people who know people or have connections, which, obviously it's not something that we directly gain from, but already, we've been seeing sort of interesting things and we've been getting insights into stuff that we didn't previously know about because we're now talking to people in the industry who've come along for the ride and, they say stuff and we're just like, is that how that works? And they're like, yeah. And we're like, that's really cool. We didn't know that,
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like there should be a channel where the history, the view chat history is turned off, and it's just an anonymous submissions channel.
Oh no!
No one can find anything.
Yeah. Coffee mugs as well. Yes, definitely. Why this PSU is bad, mouse mat? Oh no.
I feel like why this PSU is bad is almost becoming a tagline.
It is one of the popular videos, and that's one of the videos where there are some videos that start breaking out, and I'm just like, oh, can it not be that one, please? Not because I disagree with my own content, but just it wasn't one of the strongest videos. And I'm like, could you not have picked this one, which is a really good video, However, the why this PSU is bad video, that still holds up reasonably well. It's not, it's not the be all and end all of PSU knowledge, but the fact that it just shows people the basics of how to look at the side of a PSU and roughly judge if it's absolute garbage or not, that I think is something that is very helpful. And I think a lot of people in the comments have been like, because lots of people don't know their basic electronic stuff, like, volts times amps equals watts kind of thing. and just having a practical demonstration on how to apply this electronics maths is just people will be like, oh, I get it now. Now I can look at lots of things, and I can look at, I can pick up any charger and go, oh, 19.5 volts times 3.42 amps equals a 65 watt charger. And lots of basics like that lots of people don't know. And that's kind of where I'm trying to, that's something that I really want the channel to be about, is how to merge the electronics and repair side of it with PCs and custom PCs, because there's lots of people out there that are on the custom PC building scene that have zero understanding of electronics, and I feel like it's a really good way of merging them by showing them how that electronics knowledge applies to the PCs that they're interested in.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's kind of a lot of it, is why is this relevant to computers is very useful.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing that would be quite useful is kind of based off of what came out this morning, is kind of explaining why, how multiple rail PSUs can be less convenient and sort of things like that.
Yeah.
It's a case of why these things aren't, why certain things aren't necessarily intrinsically bad, but it's a case of they can be less convenient, or why they are less useful and stuff like that, and kind of how it's a case of when certain people just kind of, say, oh, I'd never use X or I'd never use Y. It's not a case of necessarily that's inherently bad, but it's probably a case of it's way less convenient than something else. And that's
if you have
else.
The choice between both. Yeah,
and that's something else just breeds convenient.
Yeah, Phones just said it was my suggested video for the channel. It's an explain it like I'm 12 video. Yeah, basically that. And I think, I think that is definitely something to go into, because also I have had success with some of the videos, like one of the how do fans work video, where I'm just like, let's actually just take this fan apart and see how it works. Kind of like teardowns, basically. But yeah, also,
I think it'd be great to see if you could, get, I'll say, sponsored or something for that. But get some of the more modern RGB fans. See if you can non-destructively take them apart.
Maybe, yeah. Or just destructively take one apart.
I'd start by saying, can you non-destructively take it apart?
Yeah.
Because obviously that's burning your money.
Yes. Yeah, although thankfully, we are at the point now where I can, I could get away with spending some money on a video that I'm not going to get back, kind of thing. And I might not get a profit on that video, but obviously that benefits the channel as a whole, kind of thing. Kind of like one of the videos in the pipeline that we discussed last week was the webcams video. I went out and bought some webcams, and I've done tests on them. And that video is in the pipeline. Cool. It's awaiting editing. But yeah, I probably spent about £40 on web cameras, for 40 or 50 quid on webcams for that video. The video is probably not going to make 40 or 50 pounds back. However, again, it's content for the channel. So now and then it's worth investing some money in that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
and it is kind of the case that, as well, that's useful knowledge to have.
Yeah.
Right now, for people who go, I want a webcam, what webcams can you actually get?
Yeah, and the results from it were very interesting as well. Spoilers: the Orky webcam wasn't my pick of the litter. I ended up buying a £10 webcam, a £20 one that was the Amazon's Choice one, the Orky webcam. The £10 one, the super cheap one, was pure garbage. It was virtually unusable. The Orky one was a bit too clever for its own good, in my opinion. I didn't get on with it very well. It's an interesting camera, but I don't really think it was the best. And the Amazon Choice one, the £20 one, was actually the one that I would recommend out of the three of them. Not because it's the best, but it's the one that provided the most, give this to someone and tell them to plug it in and it'll work with no setup kind of thing. And you'll get something that's half decent, So, yeah. Just
Absolutely.
gonna fly
I
through.
made a terrible mistake of looking at Night Fusion super chatted a fiver saying in the Discord we have an idea for a mousepad. I made the mistake of actually looking.
Oh no. I will have a look in a minute as well. Also, I forgot to ping Discord that we were starting. However, there was a ping earlier on today, an hour before we started, so deal with it, Discord.
It's fine. Guess what? I said we are live in the news channel and specifically mentioned Spud.
Thanks, Karadog. Focus Warrior UK earlier on said, thank you for your answer last week on Raw partition. It was helpful. I've done all I thought, so thank you for answering. Good stuff. I hope that worked out well for you. Big thanks. Have you ever had a power supply fry the whole system? No, I've never actually seen that happen. I've never seen a power supply go bang and kill the rest of the computer. I've seen power supplies go bang, like proper bang, that make you go, oh, kind of thing. I've seen that several times, but I've never seen one actually damage the rest of the system. It can happen. I've spoken to other people who said, I have seen that happen. However, I personally have never seen it happen.
I've also been amazed about the fact that I've managed to short the power supply of a computer that is on to the case of the computer that the power supply is in, and the computer just turned off and nothing else happened. And I'm just like, how did I get away with that?
Yep.
How did I get away with that?
Yeah, I've done that on power supplies a couple of times where when I've been doing stupid things that involve jumper wires sticking out of Molex connectors where there's bare wires, and the wires have inevitably touched because of course they do. You know, this is why you don't do this. This is why you don't jank. And, you know, they've touched, there was a spark and it all cut off. And you wait for a sec, you give it 10, you turn it all off at the wall, you wait 5 minutes, you come back, you turn it on, it comes back to life again because the polyfuse has cooled down or whatever, you know.
Yeah. I still think the thing that's most amazing is the fact that the number of times that doesn't trip the like the main breaker or anything like that.
Yeah,
it's just the power supply.
The power supply is
the power supply
probably
cuts
faster.
off straight off.
Yeah,
and the power supply does that so quickly. It's just like, huh,
modern
that's
electronics
impressively fast.
Yeah.
Like,
the coder says we definitely need more info out there on power requirements and basic how to electronics works videos. Yeah, I want to get to there's a mini series that I want to do which is kind of similar to board repair basics but a bit of an offshoot of it, which I think will probably come under a different name, which will be something like component basics. And what I want to do in that video is actually there's two things I want to cover. Is firstly just basics on how to use multimeters. Because you know, like I often say sort of go to voltage mode, go to continuity mode, you know, and a lot of people will just be like, well, which one's voltage mode? Which one's continuity mode? I don't know what that is, you know. So I want to do a absolute bare basics, you know. Well, explain it to me like I'm 12, how to use a multimeter. It's not going to be super detailed, like it's not going to go into ranges and stuff like that, but literally just show, you know, if you want to measure voltage, you need to go to this setting, put the black probe on this spot and the red probe on this spot. If you want to measure resistance, you need to go to here, and so on and so forth. Just basic stuff like that. And I want to do a similar video on that where I talk about on a computer motherboard, what do resistors look like, and what are they likely to be doing? What do capacitors look like? What are they likely to be doing? And so on. Just so people can start looking at circuits. Because a lot of people I found from comments and things like that, they might know a capacitor when they see it, but they don't understand the concept of what capacitors are there for. And they you'll say to people, "Oh, I think I'm shorted through a resistor or something like that," and I'm like, probably not. Because you'll almost never ever be shorted through a resistor. That's almost certainly not something that's going to happen. And I want to explain why that's very, very unlikely to be the case. You know, common failure modes for components, that kind of thing. Let me see. RWL12, do you directly post the new shop stuff on Patreon? Not quite. Well, I have posted pictures to Patreon that have pictures of the shop that I'm currently going for, and they also went up on the Discord as well. There hasn't been a huge amount of posts there, just because there's not much to talk about yet. However, as soon as this new as soon as the new shop starts moving, a la I'm in there, and there will probably be a lot of content updates coming thick and fast. So that's when that content will really start kicking off big time. So yeah. Also, I completely missed. The super chat from earlier on from Night Fusion, where he did give another £5 and talk about mouse mat designs. What was that? I missed it.
That was it. Just look at the contributors channel in Discord.
I just looked at the contributors chat in Discord.
Yeah. That's it.
No. Oh god! That's it. I'm seeing meme face. I'm clicking off a Discord. We're not doing that. No, you're all banned. Right.
Absolutely.
What else? Resistor shouldn't be connected to ground, so it shouldn't be able to support to ground. That's an interesting thing. If it's a pulled down resistor, it will be connected to ground. But still, I've never seen that happen before. So it probably could, but I doubt it. Let's see, what else is going on? Am I on Twitch? No, we should probably start dual streaming to Twitch at some point. I'm not sure what format to do that in. I'm not sure if we should make an Adamant IT Twitch channel, or if I should just put that out to my personal Twitch, which is Twitch/Nethersem. What would you think of that, Karadog? Should we just stick it out on my personal Twitch, or should we make an Adamant IT Twitch?
I think you need to look at your arrangement with Twitch and ensure there are no issues on that front.
Yeah, because Twitch might get crappy with me for monetizing on, not being exclusive, basically.
Yes, absolutely.
Because Linus Tech Tips on the WAN show, they get away with this, but they're Linus fucking Tech Tips, so it's not
they
like
have like 4,000 concurrent viewers on Twitch.
It's not like they're going to get banned, is it? So
so it's kind of a case of you're kind of in the wrong scale.
Yeah. So
because I kind of feel like if this live stream had like 6 viewers and there were 60 subscribers, no one would find it or care. But it's the fact that there's 75,000 subscribers and best part of 400 people here now. So it's kind of that.
We're big enough to get noticed, but we're not big enough to be able to cheat the system, so to speak. So yeah,
exactly.
I think for that reason, Twitch is probably a no-go at the moment, because the only way I would risk it at this point would be to create a new Adamant IT channel, so as not to put my personal channel at risk, and then I would be building up I would effectively be building another channel that I don't care about. So there's no benefit to me about it. Especially when anyone who's come here for my content is on YouTube already to watch the main YouTube channel. So I can't see it being useful, unfortunately.
I think it's a case of you'd need to get larger on Twitch to get to the kind of the Patreon to the partner thing,
level,
because there's actual negotiations at that stage.
But
also a case of I don't know if the exclusivity just says you can't create the same kind of content. Because obviously if it says the same kind of content, then it's a case of obviously there is a strong argument to be made that, well, no, it's a completely different type of content.
Yeah.
It's very much a web chat show, not gaming.
Yeah. It might be worth... Yeah, I mean, it might be worth reading the fine print, because if we were doing this just once a week, it would just be part of the content. However, because I do 2 game streams a week on Thursdays and Sundays at 7 p.m. UK time, obviously most of the content would be exclusive. Just once a week there would be a 2-hour stream that is not exclusive, So I might get away with that. I mean, it might be worth me just dropping an email to Twitch support and just saying, look, this is what I want to do. Would you guys be okay with this? Just try my luck. The worst they can do is turn around and say, no, you cannot do that.
I feel it's one of the things that if you were to do that, it would kind of need to be from a generic email address that isn't anything to do with your stuff. Because if they pick that up, they'd then just go, oh, this person is thinking of doing that. Ban. Because I do not trust any moderation system on basically any website where you start asking, is this appropriate?
And also,
because they'll just go, oh, they're planning on doing things that are, attempting to flout the rules. Ban. Oh, they're saying stuff we don't like. Ban. And it's like, they're perfectly within their rights to do that because it's a private platform. They choose who's on there.
And again, not big enough to be able to kick up enough of a fuss to get it overruled. Like this is one of the frustrating things. Is when someone high profile gets banned, they'll probably get their account back because they've got enough weight to batter customer support, who will then be like, oh, okay, we should probably unban this person. However, obviously, if it was anyone else, you'd be up the paddle without a creek. So
basically. So what you're saying is you need all 75,000 subscribers on YouTube to like and retweet all of your tweets, so you can build that engagement. So you can become a big deal on the on the Twitter. So
there's a spot on my camera that's annoying me. Oh, I can't get rid of that. How? Oh, I'll have to look at that later. I can see it, but I don't think the camera can see it, but it's annoying me. I can see it there and I want to wipe it off. Right, where was I? Oh no, hold on. Oh no, that spot's on my monitor. That's fine. Sorry, ignore me. I'm zoning out here. Right, let's get back to the chat.
Good job. Well done. Yep. Congratulations.
Shush. I'm tired. Shush. Let's get back to the chat. People are talking about other content. What other content do I watch on YouTube? I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube. It would be very difficult for me to actually do a my favorite YouTubers roundup, so I'm not going to. I don't watch a huge amount of repair content at the moment. I am subscribed to people like Soren, which is Electronics Repair School, and Northridge Fix, but I haven't really sat down and watched much of their content yet because often, as soon as I sit down and I have time to watch content, I want to relax and kind of not be thinking about fixing things. The only exception to that is when I want to learn something completely different and new. And like recently, I have been re-watching Ben Eater and his 8-bit computer on breadboards, which I'm going to link in because it's a freaking amazing series that I think anyone who is interested in computer science at any point should know. I'm going to quickly link this in because I recommend it so much that people ought to watch it. So yeah, I have been binge watching this lately just because I have watched it all before, but I wanted to watch it again, and I've been thoroughly enjoying it. So I'm going to link in a playlist in the chat for Ben Eater. And as I say, if you want to learn a crap ton about comp science, then you bash that in. Right. Bam and bam. Check that out. Right, let's see. So, yeah, Ben Eater is really good. Do I ever watch Jay's 2 Cents? I haven't watched Jay's 2 Cents for a while. I had been watching his content. However, he had a bit of a dry spell, and I think anyone who watches Jay's 2 Cents knows what I'm talking about. He had a bit of a dry spell where he was basically out of ideas, and I kind of lost interest around that area for two reasons. Is that A, the content he was making where he was just like, oh, I react to viewers' setups. I'm just like, I'm not super into that. So I wasn't watching those videos. And the other reason as well was it was annoying me slightly because he was saying, he said outright in a video, he said, I've got no ideas at the moment. And my reaction to that was, have you considered building a water-cooled computer? You know, what your channel is about. Just saying. I'm pretty like, it doesn't have to be the best mod you've ever done. It doesn't have to be something completely original. You don't always have to one-up your previous content. Like, when you run a YouTube channel, you're always trying to one-up yourself. You're always trying to do something you haven't done before. But sometimes there's a lot of mileage in just going back to the basics. Like with me, you know, just sometimes a lot of the repair videos I've been putting out recently are basics that I have done many times on the channel. But that's also what people came to my channel for, you know. And sometimes there's a lot of mileage in just taking a good hard look at yourself and going, what is my channel about?
Yeah.
Just make that content. And Jay's 2 cents, his channel is about custom boutique computers, often with custom water cooling in it. So just build a custom computer with water cooling in it. Bam, content. So that, you know, now nothing doing against Jay, you know, this, I'm not ragging on him or anything. This is not me, no ill feelings, but just saying, I feel like the answer to his problem is probably more obvious than he thinks it is. Just saying.
I think I watched his videos for a while. You know, basically every single upload, watched everything. And I was just kind of like, he's not providing any actual content for me.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like watching Gamers Nexus videos where there's actual, you know, in-depth, actual technical knowledge being exchanged. Yeah, it's not like there's actual empirical data being transferred. So it's just kind of, yeah. I don't know, it's kind of a case of it's just like, it seems kind of pointless to watch it. So,
and
I don't know. It was kind of.
Think
it wasn't like.
Yeah, I think I will come around to Jay again. Like, I haven't done yet, although there is a video that popped up in my subscriptions that I need to look into. I saw him. It did actually look like he was building a computer, or he'd done something. I don't know what it's about, because, like with a lot of the big YouTubers, he's playing the clickbait game in the titles, and I get it, you know. I mean, that's another conversation in and of itself. But I look from the title and the thumbnail, I don't know what the video is about, and to me, that is a problem. However, it looked like it might be something a bit different, because the problem is, after he had that dry spell, the only other thing was just sort of new 30 series graphics cards, new Ryzen 5000s, and I'm just like, I've got blocks of people in my subscriptions who are making those videos. I don't care, you know. So it's a case of, I haven't been watching any of those new release videos because I don't care. The new 30 series graphics cards are out. They're really good, and you can't buy them. That's it in a nutshell, basically. So I haven't been watching them. But yeah, as I say, I think he will start making content that I will look at and be like, this is interesting. I want to see that again. Because now and then he does make content, and I really enjoy it, and I like him for the personality as well. You don't always have to be seeing something that is the cutting edge of your knowledge. Sometimes it's fun just to watch some people dicking about, you know. I'm on board for that. So, but yeah, as I say, I think he'll come around again. Just, yeah, I'm going to come back to him, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm repeating myself.
It's with all things. Yes, it was kind of on the flip side with what's his name, DIY Perks, whose name I've entirely forgotten his actual name, but him, and just with his stuff where he'll only post like one video every 6 months, but it's like each video is really well produced and is like an actually really good made video and stuff like that, and it's just like, obviously that works for certain people in certain types of content, but it's just like, it's nice that there is that contrast and there is such high production videos.
I have mixed opinions on that, because it is
shocks.
really good. Yeah, it is amazingly good content. And yeah, I don't watch all of DIY Perks' stuff, but I watched some of the videos. I am subscribed to him. But the problem with some of that content is that you start raising the bar to the point where every video you make has to be top notch. And whereas when you do regular content, like with me, obviously I aim for one video a week. That's my target. If I can do 2 videos a week, I will, but I'm targeting 1 video a week. And if I put out a video that I know isn't my best, that's no big deal to me. Now and then I'll put out a video and I'll be like, this isn't the best I've ever done, but it's content. This will do. This is something new for people to watch and enjoy. And if it's a video that I don't think is one of my best, that I don't really care about, then I'll put it out there and I'll be like, this isn't my finest work, but that's fine. There's always next week. You know, we'll see if we can do a good one next week, kind of thing. And that's not to say that I just throw stuff out there without caring, but it's one of those things where perfectionism will be the death of you. And I think a lot of YouTube channels some YouTube channels are run by amazingly talented people who choke and go silent because they feel like they don't know what to do next. And they're like, I can't, because I've got no ideas for something that is big enough to warrant a video. And sometimes you've just got to be like, not everything you do has to be a work of art, you know.
Also the case of it's where the best painting, the best drawing is the one you actually do.
Yeah, finished is good enough.
The best piece of artwork that you do is the one that you actually do.
Yeah.
Because if you never do it, obviously.
Yeah. And same with the old adage, you know, it's on a similar note, it's the phrase that I'm a big fan of is the best time to plant an apple tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So, yeah. Going to catch up on chat a little bit. Demney BS, thank you for the $5. What music do you guys like? I tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to come back to this at the end of the stream. And once again, me and Karadog will make this a thing where we'll both name one or two bands that we like, because otherwise we'll just spend the rest of the stream talking about music. So start thinking now, Karadog. Yeah. Doesn't have to be just a band you like and why you like them. So we'll come back to that one at the end of it. Let's see. So I can see people are talking about other YouTubers and stuff at the moment. Lewis Rossman, and Lewis Rossman just moans. Yeah, kind of a little bit there. I learnt 90% of my knowledge about board repair. I learnt from watching Lewis Rossman's channel. So I'll always give big respect because I learnt from watching him. However, I learnt from him just before and just as he was starting to do the live streams. So I learnt from him while all of his content was still edited videos, which was much easier a lot more accessible. Whereas most of the live repairs and stuff like that now are very inaccessible because they're obviously very long videos that are a lot of waffling and talking that if you're interested in that are very interesting to watch. But if you're just like, I want to learn board repair, it's not a great place to start. And absolutely, the guy is incredibly talented, but I think his content is a little bit inaccessible these days unless you've been with him for a while and you enjoy all of his other random stuff and all of the talk on right to repair and all the rest of it. I think he's got very good content, but I think he's a lot less accessible than he used to be.
I also still feel that he needs to work a lot less.
Yeah, I agree with that. And
I feel like he's kind of forgotten that he needs to work less.
Yeah.
So he can actually do better work.
Yeah. I hesitate to say it, but I think Lewis Rossman has forgotten how to have fun. And again, nothing doing. The guy's a repair prodigy. However, I feel like there's not really much sense of having a good time with his content. You know, he doesn't talk about things that he's really passionate about that are outside of work, you know. Like, for example, whenever I'm building a computer that's got RGB in and stuff like that, people are just like, RGB, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, I don't care. I like pretty lights. I think that's cool. I like it. And I think that is one of the appeals of my channel, is that I get to show a bit of passion for something that is maybe a little bit less important, and people like to see that. And on a similar note, as you say about sort of working too much, again, it's just he's very focused. He's laser focused on, is this the most efficient way to make money kind of thing. And And whenever someone says it's just like, oh, have you ever thought of fixing other computers and stuff? He dismisses that as daft, or just like, why would I do that kind of thing? I'm like, just to broaden your horizons a bit. Like, not everything you do has to, like, you know, when I'm doing the Bluetooth speaker repairs and stuff like that, it's just like, that's not a good way to make money right now. You know, when I do the experimental repairs on gadgets, you know, the amount of time that it takes me to do that repair, I could have just done a service on a Windows laptop and made twice the money in a fraction of the effort with a fraction of the knowledge. However, I'm broadening my horizons because I'm looking at something going, I'm not sure how to fix this. I'm going to try and figure out how to. And you're, as I say, broadening horizons, learning new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah,
and I think part of it is also a case of, obviously, when you're at the point where you have kind of sustained income, where you have a sustained turnover of other stuff, obviously you can look at the stuff where it's not about optimizing income, where it's about just learning stuff.
Yeah, exactly that. And because that is one thing that I do try to, it's one thing that I do want to make absolutely clear, is that, you know, a lot of people give me, I mean, obviously the imposter syndrome strikes now and then. However, with that in mind, I think a lot of people give me too much credit. And it's a case of, you know, like, I like to think that I'm not bad, but I'm not in the same league as people like Northridge Fix and Soren and people like that. You know, they're doing board repair all day, every day. They are a league above me. However, I'm like, okay, well, if I can't be the best, let's at least set that example that we're always looking at new things. We're always learning. We're always going, okay, you guys are saying that this person is better. Cool. I want to look at what they're doing and I want to learn how to do that. How can we achieve this? Let's both learn together, kind of thing. That's the objective here. Is just like, I can't be the best, but hopefully I can help you guys to learn. I can bring you guys along. So a lot of people, you know, like we had the chap earlier on in the chat saying, how do you start learning how to fix computers? That's the question that my channel is trying to answer, is how can we look at something and learn to repair it? It's really easy for someone to say, oh, you should have done this first, and then you would have done it in half the time. And I'm like, I didn't know that in advance. Hindsight is great. However, what I'm trying to teach is the approach. How do we figure out how to get to the goal?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think picking up on a sentiment from the chat as well, is a case of, it gives opportunity with people like Lewis Rossman becoming inaccessible. It gives an opportunity for someone to make their own YouTube channel, doing the basic stuff to make that content accessible, to teach the knowledge to make that level of content accessible. Not saying specifically to make Lewis Rossman video explainers, but to make it so the content that is being gone over in those videos accessible to people, and make it so they have the base knowledge to do that. You know, it's a case of, it gives other people the option to do that, and to sort of, you know, because clearly there is an interest by the fact that he's got, what, 1.5 million subscribers or something like that on YouTube. It shows that there are at least 1 million people who have a passing interest in board repair and so on. So it's a case that there's 1 million people out there potentially who could watch your videos on how to get started in that, how to, you know, learn what the stuff means. So it gives you the opportunity, if you're willing to do it, or if you have an interest in doing it, to
and also
to explain the stuff.
And if nothing else, just providing a bit of inspiration to people as well, which is not to say I'm inspiring. You know, that's quite a bold statement to make. But but there's lots of people who said, I watched one of your videos and it got me really excited about repair, and then I went and fixed a computer that I had that has been broken for a year, and I'm like, cool, that's the goal. That's the objective here. You know, like, even if that, you know, the thing that they fixed wasn't the same as what I fixed, but I got them stoked enough, I got them enthusiastic enough to think, I want to go and fix something, and they went and fixed something. And that's ops success. So yeah,
absolutely, that. And it's obviously the case of, every person who shares knowledge will share the knowledge in a different way, and that will be exactly the right way for someone out there. So it's a case of you don't need to, it doesn't matter if you do it differently to someone else. It's important just that if you want to, that you share it and that you share the information, because people will learn in different fashions. So, you might have precisely the way of explaining things that a certain group of people needs.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, you say it in the right way, because different people learn in different ways. Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yeah. I can see a couple of people are just like sort of, I don't like Soren and stuff like that. And it's just like, yeah, that's fine. There's always going to be, as I say, I haven't actually watched a huge amount of his content, but if he's out there fixing things, he can't be that shabby. But obviously, everyone's got their preferences, and likewise, absolutely. I can see as well from folks where everyone's got their haters as well. Like I know. I won't name names because they're beneath my mention, but there are people who I routinely see in my comments with nothing but nasty things to say, and they're subscribed to me and watching my content, and I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
But if that's absolutely. How they spend their time, then power to them. I got, I don't, absolutely. It's no skin off my teeth because they're adding to my numbers. So it's just like
my engagements.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to come here and be a hater, then go ahead. But as I say, to YouTube, all engagement is engagement. So yeah, whatever.
Absolutely.
What was the other thing that I spotted that I was going to say? Yeah, my mate Vince came up as well. I don't watch him, but I've seen one or two of his videos. And again, I like his approach. I think he's potentially one of these, possibly a little bit too broad, but again, just the attitude of, I'm going to learn about this today. It's a good attitude to take,
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of a similar vein to like what Big Clive does. He just pulls everything apart.
Yeah.
Pull anything apart and just go,
Big Clive.
Is this interesting?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's a very good mentality to be in. Just a case of, we're going to look at anything.
Yeah.
We're going to just see what's in this thing, So yeah.
Indeed.
I just like I like the attitude a lot of these people have. Just a case of, I'm just gonna look at stuff and I'm just gonna see what's in there.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I mean, I haven't managed to get into that kind of. A couple of times I've considered getting into content like that. In a way, that's what the "How Does a Computer Fan" video was about, because that one was just a matter of, I wanted to actually take a fan apart and go down to the traces and go through it circuit diagram wise and just see how, because I mean, obviously we all know the gist of how a fan works, but let's actually see it in action. And that was quite interesting to do. I don't know that I would do a series on it or pivot the channel in that direction, but I think it was fun to do as just a random thing now and then, and I could see myself doing it again.
And it very much demonstrated the fact that, probably maybe if someone happened to sponsor you for a half-decent oscilloscope, it would help.
Yes, I will just buy one at some point. I really need to.
Just an actually half-decent power supply might actually get things going. The power supply? Oscilloscope.
Yes.
Or just clamps that actually clamp.
Maybe. Have I gotten into reballing yet? No, not yet. There aren't any repairs that require reballing that I'm interested in doing yet, with the possible exception of SMC reballing on MacBooks. I've had a couple of MacBooks that have passed me by where I've been like, this probably wants an SMC reball, but I don't have the equipment to do it. So yeah, but it's a case of, am I going to do that often enough to warrant getting into that? Because you got to buy the solder paste and keep that in the fridge and stuff like that, and just we'll see. I'd like to. I should probably practice it. So I've actually practiced it on some dummy stuff. So if something comes in that requires it, I can be like, yes, I know how to do this. I'm going to need to buy a stencil, but I do know how to do it.
Yeah, I think also just a case of, obviously, as we sort of alluded to with mail-in repairs, if you were to offer, say, specifically reballing as a mail-in service, obviously specific mail-in reballing for specific models, specific manufacturers, it's a case of it could then give the volume required to make the equipment worthwhile.
Yeah. Or failing that, I just get some pre-balled chips. I'm sure there's someone on eBay selling reballed SMCs for every given MacBook. And sure, they're going to be more expensive than doing it yourself. But if you're doing it in low volume, that doesn't really matter. You know, again, like I mentioned earlier on in the stream about about the MacBook Air that I removed the firmware password from. Although I did reprogram the EFI chips for it, I purchased 2 brand new pre-programmed chips from eBay as a base, as a template, because that meant that A, I know I'd have a known good firmware, and B, I had a spare chip in case I blew one of them up. So I started out on that, and like that obviously I spent £10 on those 2 chips, so obviously that eats into your profit margin a lot. However, now I've done it once, I can do it cheaper in the future. And absolutely. You know, again, it's just like if you're doing it once in a blue moon, it doesn't matter. And if I need one reballed SMC, if I do one once a month, even, you know, I don't really mind spending £10 on an SMC on a repair that I will then charge £100 for. You know.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Who cares?
Oh yeah, but it was just kind of a case of, if you're saying, oh, I kind of want to get into it, it's a case of, obviously, if you offer the mail in for specific models, it helps cover the cost by increasing the volume.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was more of a case of, you know, just helping narrow down helping speed up the return. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
Has it ever been worthwhile you considering sort of flipping secondhand?
Yeah, I just spotted that question from Noel Dowds as well. It's probably doable, but it requires someone who is interested in trawling eBay for the easy fix and spotting the easy fixes that no one else has snapped up yet. And I can't be bothered, basically. It's probably doable. But yeah, I can't be bothered to trawl eBay for the fixable stuff. Although, like, now and then, you know, Spudnugget has posted stuff in the bargains saying expensive motherboard with bent pins on it, and I've sort of thought, I can fix bent CPU pins, you know, or bent LGA pins, you know, and there's probably profit there. But that's the thing, is I'm not sure on other work to do. I'm not sure on things to do. I think if I was sitting idle and I was sitting around going, I've got no work to do, or I'm bored, then I would probably do it. Sorry, there's a siren coming. Bear with me, everyone. I'm going to mute.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of a case of, I think that's a case of if you think you've got that ability, but you don't necessarily have it as a job, fixing computers and stuff. But it's kind of something you want to pick up so you can do in the afternoon. You know, you kind of go, let's grab a couple of bits off of eBay and see if I can fix them over the weekend and then flog them during the week, just as kind of a hobby. I think that's kind of a place you'd be with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And yeah, kind of the same with TVs. I've dabbled with looking at TVs before, but the problem there is finding parts. Like a lot of the time you need to find the power board for them or something like that, and it's just finding spare parts for things that's the tricky bit, I think. With other fixes there,
it's kind of, you know, with obviously how reasonably modular computers and laptops and stuff are, it's incredible how easy they are to repair by comparison. But then you kind of look at it and go, a lot of this stuff is really hard to get access to.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just kind of the weird sort of duality of it.
Yeah, and I think Facebook is... someone mentioned Facebook for picking up secondhand stuff. I think that's a good idea. I think there's a lot of cheap stuff being undersold on Facebook that you could probably pick up and profit on for people who are just fire sailing, or, well, people who either A, don't know the true value of what they've got, or B, are just fire sailing it to get rid of it. Because they're just like, I don't care about getting the most. If I get 50% of its value, then that's 40 quid or whatever in my pocket. And I'd rather have 40 quid in my pocket than this thing taking up space. Because that a lot of the time when it's a lot of people will be happy with that. Now and then people bring in stuff that they want to sell into the shop, and I will make them an offer and I'll say, I'm lowballing you. It's worth this amount on eBay. I will offer you this amount for it. And they will often accept my offer because they're just like, I can't be asked to sell it on eBay. By the time I've gone to the hassle of listing it, paying the fees, posting it, or I could just take your offer and have money in my hand as I walk out that door. So
exactly.
So that's definitely where you can make money. And I think Facebook Marketplace is probably a good vector for that as well. But yeah, obviously that's a bit thin on the ground. What with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour and everything as well. So
yes.
When will the 3060 come out? Do we have a date on the 3060? I don't think we do we?
I doubt we're going to see one for a while.
Yeah, it exists. I think the card exists. However, I don't think I don't think it's gonna be out before the new year. I think it's gonna be first or second quarter next year. So
Probably,
yeah.
But I imagine I can't see why there'd be one specifically right now.
Yeah, I feel there's lots of graphics cards in the low end right now. The low end is actually really crowded with models that are good cards. So if you're doing if you're gaming at 1080p, you don't need a huge amount of horsepower, and you don't really have a pressing need for a 3060 other than just simply wanting the latest generation. So I think my answer to that is, if you need a new graphics card right now, like as in you're waiting to build or your graphics card is dead, I would go and buy something that already exists, like a 1660 Super or a 2060 or something like that, and you'll be just fine with it, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas if you've got something that is still doing what you need it to do, then I would sit tight, because I think you'll see something in the new year, first or second quarter. But yeah, if you need a card, if you're waiting on the 3060 to build or get your computer up and running, I would go buy something else if I were you.
Yeah, basically.
So,
and
that'd be my advice.
I think we're probably gonna. I think if we weren't having shipping issues, I'd be more willing to imagine that there'll be one soon. But the fact that there are just such global shipping issues, I can't see them releasing yet another model.
They're not going to waste shipping space on a new card when they could be shipping more 3080s.
Yeah, because there's going to be a much larger profit margin on the 3080s.
Yeah. I mean, as it is, the rumors on the 3060 is that it's impossibly, the margin on it sounds impossibly small, and the partners are struggling to build something that is profitable with the target pricing on it. So yeah, that seems prudent.
Exactly.
So yeah, and it's a lot of, Liam in Wales just said, "Oh, it will sell out right away." It's like, I've no doubt it would, but that doesn't do them any favors if they're only making £2 on each one, Yeah, exactly. Or they could be making 100 quid on every 3080 they sell. Which are you gonna? Which ones are you gonna put on the plane at the Chinese airport? The one that makes you £2 a shot, or the one that makes you £100 a shot?
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
I could see there being one, even if there wasn't the profit in it, if there were horrendous issues with like the 1650, the 1660, and they were having horrifically low yields on them or something like that. It's a case of, if there was, some horrific manufacturing defect, they would prefer to take the much lower profit margin, but just scrub a card that's failing. or if there were horrific RMA rates on, say, the 1650 Super, if they had, RMA rates of 50%, they'd prefer to have that brand new card that will avoid that issue.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's kind of, I could see if that was the case, but as far as we're aware, obviously that isn't the case and that isn't happening. So I don't see that they're going to rush to get it out when obviously there are already issues with getting enough shipments of 3090, 3080s, 3070s.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, I'm going to whiz through some of the chat things at the moment. Just a quick one. Does Karadog have a channel? He doesn't. Do you do any content creation that you share?
I don't do anything.
No, you don't. No, I didn't think so. I was going to say I'm not aware of anything.
Nothing. I do not exist.
Yeah, fair enough.
I am but a figment.
I thought that was going to be your answer, but I didn't want to dismiss and say no. He doesn't make anything. When he's like, actually, I've been working on this, but no, Karadog doesn't exist. He does not.
Exactly.
You get nothing. So let me see. What do you think about the Sapphire HD 4850? I think I used to have a HD 4850. I believe it was all right in its day, but 4850. The HD series is obviously completely obsolete at this point. So no is the answer to that. Move on to newer stuff, I would say.
Basically saying that it's actually supported by the current version of drivers.
Yeah. For cheap low end AMD, the RX 500 series is still entirely viable as far as I'm concerned. The RX 570 and RX 580, pick up a second-hand one of those. It's probably going to be a real cheap, high-performing card. Would be my answer
absolutely.
there.
Or a 480, because a 480 is basically a 580 with just slightly lower clocks.
Yeah, there you go.
And the 470 is basically a 570 with slightly lower clocks.
Yeah.
So.
Obscenity said, I watched some of your Let's Fix computers, noticed your choice of page file is 2 gigabytes. Why? Because that, I always used to get the strongest performance from a computer, especially with a hard drive in, with a 2 gigabyte page file, because it was large enough that it gives the computer that page file buffer it wants. However, it's small enough that the computer is not wasting time searching the page file for something that isn't there. Because Windows used to have a nasty habit of ballooning the page file where it would scale up and down, and that scaling of the page file would itself slow things down. And if you set it to a fixed value that could not move, I found that generally sped the computer up considerably because the hard drive had more time to get stuff because it was spending less time allocating and deallocating page file space. However, I don't think this holds up anymore. Windows 10, especially if you have an SSD, seems to manage the page file just fine. So I think my 2 gigabyte... I haven't been setting my page files for quite a while now, and I think that is now a dead theory. I don't think that's something I do these days. I don't think you're going to harm performance by doing it, but I don't think there's any benefit to it anymore either.
Especially given how cheap it is to have 16 or 32 gigs.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well, is just we're not really struggling for RAM in most computers these days.
Yeah, exactly.
Except for that poxy Asus I've got over there that's got 4 gigabytes in it. But it's
also kind of a case of if you've got 32 gigs of RAM and you've set your page file to 2 gig, that's kind of pointless. There is no use in your page file. Because obviously it's only 2 gig, and if you've already pushed over 32 gigs of RAM, your page file would need to be like another 32 gigs to make it worthwhile. Yeah,
certainly these days, 2 gigabytes isn't enough to matter. So I think that one hasn't really that one has gone out of date now. I think that's obsolete advice. So as I say, I don't think you're going to damage anything with it, which is why I wouldn't go and take those videos down or anything. But it is out of date knowledge, which does happen in videos. I have got some videos where I've been sort of putting hard drives and things and that stuff like that, and people would be like, "Oh, why didn't you put an SSD in this?" And I'm like, "Because this video is 6 years old, and SSDs were expensive back then. What's wrong with you?" So but yes, that's the answer to that. Let's see. Noel Dow's has been trying to get our opinion of the Intel NUC laptop M15. I have no opinion on it. I don't know anything about it. Any opinions on that one, Karadog? I haven't looked at it. It's probably quite nice. I know Intel have been pushing a couple of laptops recently. I know. I think at the start of the year, Intel were pushing their a couple of new laptops through a few system integrator laptop manufacturers that were all getting pushed fairly heavily on Linus Tech Tips and Jay's 2 Cents and places like that. They seem to be good laptops, but yeah, I don't really care about laptops, quite frankly. I have no interest in them. Just because I prefer desktops. I think laptops are a dead end.
It looks like looking at the photos I've quickly seen of it, it looks like someone did a bad job of cloning the HP clones of a MacBook Pro.
Oof. Yeah. Don't copy the MacBook Pro. It really annoys me when people do that, but yeah. It's probably, I'm sure it's very good, but yeah, I'm sure it's very good, but I have no interest in laptops. Yeah. I'm not interested enough in laptops, I'm afraid. So, yeah, sorry about that one. Super chat with 100 somethings. Rupees. Oh, is it? Okay, yeah, rupees. I was like, I don't know what that is. Don't bother pronouncing my name. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go Akshay Dwivedi. Thank you for the 100 rupees. Will you guys do a react to The Verge's PC build? You know, I've never watched it. This video is infamous, The Verge's PC build video. I don't think we'll do a react. That's not my cup of tea. But I should probably watch it at some point just so I can find out what all the fuss was about, because that is legendary cursed video watching now, is my understanding. But no, I don't really want to do reaction content at all, because I know some people like it, but I feel like reaction content is at the bottom of the creation pyramid. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't like reaction content personally. Mainly, I don't think it's worth reacting to something unless you really have something worthwhile to add to it. But I don't think it would be worth it just for entertainment value, because the only thing that I could do is just do an entertainment value of just going, this is hilariously bad, which is basically what everyone's takeaway is already going to be anyway. So yeah,
exactly.
But
I think the thing that came out of it that is the most interesting is The Verge completely abusing copyright takedowns to get rid of any video that was saying that it was a bad guide to
the internet is forever. Yeah.
But also just the fact that they won those copyright strike takedown things, and it was just like, how did you win?
Yeah, fine.
It's just depressing.
Fine. Right. It's 5:45 where we are, and we're at the 2-hour marker. I'm going to quickly check through the chat if there's anything else. Is there anything in the chat that you want to go for?
No, I don't think so. Not at the moment. Just other than someone who was saying about they were starting video editing and were wanting to buy a MacBook Air. Don't.
No. MacBook Air is not your friend for video editing. Apple would love it to be.
You don't need to buy an Apple to do video editing.
Yeah, A, you don't need an Apple for video editing. B, most of the Apple laptops don't have the horsepower for video editing. The only time where it makes sense is if you're running a MacBook Pro and you're using Final Cut. Because then obviously you've got all the hardware acceleration, which is going to make it feel fast. Because that's what Macs are all about, is hardware acceleration. So yeah, if you're running a top-end MacBook Pro with Final Cut, then that would start making sense. But that's a really expensive place to start. You're better off getting a Windows laptop and using get a Windows laptop and learn DaVinci Resolve. Yeah, that's the best place to start. So yeah, right.
Yes. Or obviously just use a desktop. just get a Windows
Yeah.
desktop and use that.
And also,
you don't have to use a laptop.
I mentioned earlier on that I don't like laptops. Yeah, I think laptops are dead ends. The only laptops I like are sort of cheap laptops. The one that I'm using here, my daily laptop, this is a Dell Latitude. It's a Latitude 5480, which you can buy refurbished on Amazon for, well, not right now, it's overly expensive because laptops are expensive, but when the prices aren't insane anymore, you can pick up a laptop like this with a quad-core i5 in it for about £300 on Amazon. And that's the kind of laptop that I like because it's got a 1080p screen, it's got a good battery, it's 14 inches, so it doesn't weigh a ton, and when it's no longer fit for purpose, I'll flog it on for a couple of £100 and buy another one. Whereas with gaming laptops and Apples, you spend four-figure sums of money and you can't upgrade or repair them. And I'm like, that's a dead end. That's what that is to me. Now, someone else mentioned, I work out of state quite often. A laptop is invaluable. Yeah, certainly. There's going to be some people who need a laptop. And if you need a laptop, then yeah, sure, absolutely. However, I often say when people come into my shop saying, oh, I want to buy a gaming laptop, I say, does it need to be a laptop?
Yeah.
Because
considering you cannot build gaming PCs,
you're gonna get a lot more from a PC, is my opinion there.
And you can still build surprisingly small PCs.
Yeah.
If you're kind of going, it needs to be a laptop because I've not got much space, you can still build tiny computers for much less money.
Yeah, quite so.
So,
Right, okay, I think that's it. I think we're going to wrap up now, so we're going to jump onto the music question because we had the music question earlier on. Pick a band. What's a band that you like and why do you like them? Are you ready? If not, I'll do mine first.
You do yours and.
Okay, I tell you what, I'm going to do mine first. I had something else that I'd thought up before the stream because I knew this was going to come up. However, I'm changing my answer to something else. Radiohead. Because earlier on, someone linked me to a Radiohead song, and I was like, man, I haven't listened to Radiohead in too damn long. They actually posted a song that I hadn't heard before, and I'm just like, I need to see what Radiohead have released lately, because I haven't listened to Radiohead since In Rainbows, which was a long time ago. And I like Radiohead because they're a bit of an acquired taste. They're very experimental, but they're also a weird kind of sound that you don't really get from anyone else. And they were also a pioneering band. They did weird stuff before everyone else did weird stuff. And the album In Rainbows, which came out 13 years ago, was released on their website. Pay what you want for it, digital distribution. And they I don't know if they invented that concept, but they were the first high-profile artist to do digital distribution, pay what you want, and completely skip the record label. And as I say, that was a very important, I don't want to say pivotal, but certainly a very influential move. So
absolutely. I'm going to say Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yep. Good answer.
And then, Red Hot Chili Peppers and System of a Down.
Yeah.
Those are the two I'm going to say this week.
I've never really sat down and listened to Chili Peppers, but obviously I know their more well-known songs, and I know that they're a very important band in terms of culture. And System of a Down, I dig that a lot. I dig System of a Down.
Yeah, absolutely. And who was it who did Clint Eastwood?
Gorillaz.
Gorillaz did an album. It was a story album, but I can never find it because it doesn't seem to get listed under their official discography. I assume they released it under some other name or something. But it's a story album about the Monkey of the Mountain. And it's a really good, just out there kind of story album.
I need to listen to more Gorillaz because, I've heard the stuff that was released on the radio and stuff like that, and for a long time, I didn't get them. I didn't get it. And then I watched Captain Christian, who I'm going to link in as well. I watched Captain Christian's video about them, and after watching that, I was like, I get it now, you know. And I'm going to drop a YouTube link to Captain Christian, who is a really good channel that people should also watch. He very rarely hang on a sec, Captain Christian. He very rarely releases content these days. He's one of these one video every year or every 6 months or something. But go and binge his videos. You will not regret it. So I'm going to spam some of that into the chat. Oh, stop. Stop making noises. There we go. I opened something I didn't want to open. Where is it? There we go. Right. Found the right place. There we go. There's Captain Christian. Go and subscribe to him. He did a video about gorillas that explains what is gorillas. So yeah, very good. I'll spam that a couple of times just so people can actually see it in the chat. There we go. Yeah, and I think that's about it.
That is indeed about it.
Yeah. All right. We're going to chat. Yeah. Right, thank you for tuning in, everyone. I'm going to sign out. Thanks to everyone for coming in. One more thing as well that did also come up. Thanks for everyone tuning in. Someone asked me about Twitch as well. There's my Twitch channel. The next time I will be live will be tomorrow at 7 p.m. UK time, and I'll be playing Dark Souls 3. So if you want to see me, if you want to see more of my face, I'll be playing Dark Souls 3 on Twitch tomorrow, 7 p.m. UK. Thanks everyone for coming in. Thank you for all the super chats. Always really appreciated. Always appreciated, never required. And thanks for the support, everyone. We'll be back next week. Same place, same time.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, as long as nothing comes up anyway.
Absolutely. We'll see. Unless
there's the Discord link.
Who knows?
There's the Discord link as well. Join the party.
Absolutely.
Now. Good.
Join
right.
the Discord. Continue the conversation. Join the community.
Yeah. Continue the conversation. There we go. Karadog doing the good things. I have noticed your moderation tonight as well, Karadog, by the way. Thanks for taking care of that. Right, I'm going to hit the stop button if I can find the YouTube window.
How does one stop?
There we go.
Oh no, we're trapped here forever.
End
Google
stream.
has taken us.
We're off. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye. And stream finish.